Welcome back to my channel. Take it by force for movement. I'm so used to that channel. Oh my goodness. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, the Nina Ear Show. I'm your host, Nina Ear. I want to jump into today's topic really quick, but before I do so, and I obviously have my lovely guest here that I want to introduce to you, but before I do so, I want to say to all those new subscribers, thank you. Thank you so much. God bless you. And to all my other subscribers that is following me, that supporting me, you know, in one way or the other, I'm really thankful. I'm so thankful to you because you are spreading the videos, you're sharing the videos, and it is a blessing to me and to those that you're sharing it to. So God bless you. Thank you so much. Do not forget to hit the subscribe button if you are just visiting this channel for the first time. There's a notification bell somewhere there. I don't even know where yet, but it is there. You can press that if you want to receive every new video. Well, before I couldn't come up with a time or a day, sorry, when to release my video. Still don't have a time, but now in my heart it's kind of like settled that it's going to be Sunday. So if you want to receive every new video on Sunday, if you're like us and you're a church folk, you want to watch something after the church folk, this is a good show to tune into. So without further ado, let's get into today's topic. Today I want to introduce my lovely guest to you, and welcome to the show, Pastor Daidre.
Thank you for having me.
You're most welcome. It's been long overdue, let me just say that. So guys, today I want to talk to you about something that's really special to my heart, really special to her heart as well, and she's going to help us today with budgeting. I don't really have a title yet. By the end of the show, like I said, I will come up with something. I will ask the Holy Spirit for like a name for the show, but it is about budgeting, the body of Christ budgeting. One of the things that I like to do is budget. I like to know that I have money put aside, you know, so that I'm able to travel and enjoy life. It's not that you have a lot of money when people see you traveling, it's that you know how to set aside, you know how to compartmentalize your money, you know.
Indeed.
And yes, so we'd like to call her here at Divine Visitation Assemblies the money woman. She knows how to organize your funds. She is, you know, like how you have people who organizes your closet. Well, she knows how to organize our pocketbooks, our bank accounts. Amen. Amen. So tell me, well, I want to share from the scripture. I like to always share some of these things that people understand. Why are they talking about budgeting? Why are you in my business? Yes, we are in your business today. From Luke 12:42 says, the Bible says that we are to be good stewards of all that we have. That includes what? Our finances. Now, if you are not good stewards of what you have, you're going to find yourself not having and saying and borrowing all the time. The Word of God says that we should be lenders and not borrowers. So if you find yourself borrowing constantly, or you find yourself not having enough constantly, you can't tithe. You can't give your offering. Something is wrong. So that's why we have here to help us, because it's a concern for me, and I do not like to hear when our Christian brothers and sisters are consistently saying they don't have, they can't do things with their families. So the children suffer. You yourself in your marriage, you suffer because you can't do things. You're not taking your wife out to date night. you're not buying a nice little gift to surprise your husband. I like to do nice things to surprise my husband. So you want to have money for that, you know. Those are just some of the small things, but take us through a process. First of all, just tell us, why is it so important that we as kingdom people, not women, but people, you know, women tend to like budgeting, but people have a scheme or a plan to budget.
The reason it's so important is because it's God's heart.
Yeah.
God speaks so much in this word about being good stewards, as you said,
yes,
and making sure that we have enough.
Absolutely.
Not just for ourselves, but one of the greatest things that God has ever wanted us to do was to have generational wealth.
Yes.
It's something that many of us don't have because it's not something that we're accustomed to.
Mm-hmm.
Many families, we have a situation where they grow up and their money habits are because of what they grew up in, what their environment predicts, what their environment shows them. So that passes on. So the first thing for us to understand about budgeting is not just, I need to put these things on pen and paper, but our first thing is, what is my mindset towards money?
Absolutely.
Why do I treat money the way I do? Money is supposed to be treated as a tool.
Yes.
A tool to create other things, a tool to create wealth, a tool to create the life that you want.
Absolutely.
A tool to be able to do many of the things you want to do in life. If you do not treat it as a tool, what does a tool do? A tool helps you to build something, or a tool helps you to fix something. So that's really the purpose that God desires us to build. And to be good stewards of our money.
Do you think that women are should be the ones who mainly take charge when it comes to the budgeting for the families, or?
I wouldn't say that.
Yeah.
I know some things that women are, as you said, better at putting aside something in a pocketbook under a bed, so that when something happens, they dig it from somewhere. That's generally what women do.
Yes.
However, what I would suggest is within a family, the person that is better inclined to do it, that should be the person that manages the money.
That's right.
Not that in the case, if a woman is better, we know the roles. We don't want a case where the man feels difficult that, okay, my wife is managing the money, my girlfriend is managing the money. You want a situation where even if you are the better person, that you teach your partner how to budget and how we're supposed to spend money.
I completely agree with you, because in my relationship with my husband, I am a better manager of money. And what I learned over the years is that, okay, my husband will work, make the money, and be like, okay, wife, sort it out. You see what I mean? Sometimes he literally does not know what we have on our personal account. And some people may find that like, what? No, that's the relationship that we have. I say that to say that, as you said, over the years, I have, in my own way, taught him how to, budget and manage what he has and what he has put aside. Because obviously you still have to have that separate account. We have separate accounts, but we have a joint account together. So you still have to be able to manage that. If not, he would just buy whatever, men are their gadgets, and then go to the joint account which is then our expense account, and then be like, okay babe, I need you to pull some money out that expense account for me, you know what I mean? So then it's like all over the place. If you can take us through a plan though, I mean, because I believe that this is something that's going to help so many people. A lot of our men and women are struggling to budget, to manage. Help us.
And so the first thing that I would advise anybody who is looking to begin to budget, you have to know where your money is going. Many times at the end of the month, you look and say, wait, why do all of my money? And it's because you don't have a plan.
That's right.
You should always have a plan for what you're going to do with your money.
Yes.
And sometimes a written plan is better than anything. What we find ourselves doing, sometimes you're going to the supermarket and swipe. And then later on, it was like, I had $300 on the account, where is it? And you're trying to dig through your purse to figure out, what is it I did with my money? You need to have a plan even before you start to spend that money.
Absolutely.
And that included in your plan are, what are my needs? Many people plan for their wants, but not their needs. And you don't want a situation where you don't plan for the things that you need and you just spend wildly. With a family, you even have to take more things into consideration. With a single person, it may just be you that you're planning for. When you have a family, you need to be more detailed in how you make that plan going forward. So for a family, your budgeting looks different. For a family who has kids that are about to go to college, that's an even different type of budgeting that you need to look into as well. So ensuring that there is a clear and precise plan for what we're doing with our money every single month. This amount goes to housing, this amount goes to food. I know many times you run into a situation, food is one of the major things that throws a family or anybody off budget, because we buy food and then we go out to eat a lot.
Or sometimes we buy for a month and we end up at the supermarket for one item that we might have missed. And spend extra money.
That's it.
Guilty sometimes, by the way. Okay?
That's it. As the people often tell you, do not go into the supermarket hungry. Go into the supermarket with a list and try your absolute best to stick to that list. What I would advise people, I think there is something psychological about swiping.
Mm-hmm.
There is no connection really when you swipe.
Yes.
That's why we end up in so much trouble. So I would advise, and me too, I had this experience. I used to swipe all the time when I'm going in the supermarket, and I realized you spent more money than you thought you were going to. When you have cash, when you get to the counter and you realize, how much did you say? You start to then look at what things you're going to put back. When you swipe, you don't take those things into consideration. So as I said before, it's a mindset. So having to understand that sometimes cash is king. Oftentimes it is king. And how to manage those things. So that's a key area for us.
I think so too. Would you say that when we receive our wages and our salaries, what would you then say would be a practical way in budgeting and separating the finances in terms of bills? If it's a mortgage, rent, the money that you will spend the day to day, which would be, as you said, the groceries and so forth. What would be a good way to separate that? Because for me, I separate according, like I said, to my bills and so forth. But some people do not know how to put aside, say even if it's $100 out of that money, they just think only bills and the now. So what would you say is a good way to do that? Well, like for that average woman or man out there who's like working and saying, man, I need this program today, I've been struggling so hard.
I understand. What I would advise anybody to do, and you mentioned it earlier in what you do with your husband, you actually have separate accounts. So you should have an expense account and you should have a savings account. So that at no time you should be dipping in one to the other. Many times what happens with us is that when we look at our bank statement at the end of the month, and that tells you a lot. If anybody wants to know where my money went, look and see how many swipes you had at the end of the month to see where that money went.
Absolutely.
That's coming into an understanding that we need to do better about our money. Most definitely do better about our money. But having those separate accounts is extremely important, even for people in business. What many people face at the end of the year, even when they come to pay taxes, even for us as individuals, you pay tax, and for businesses, you know, at the end of the year, I'm going to have to pay tax. If you're paid $10,000, and I think for Barbados it's 20% that is allotted to taxes, when you get that check, take the 20% out at that point and put it into account. So at the end of the year, you don't end up owing more, which you're going to add interest and different things to it. Same principle applies for your household.
What about credit cards?
Oh.
Credit cards. Credit card is almost like you said a debit card where you just swipe. Credit card is...
It is dangerous. I would advise anybody, if you cannot manage money, do not have a credit card. I know many times the bank, it looks luscious and your mind is like, I can swipe now, pay later. Just know that when you swipe the $100, it's interest. If you do not pay in time, it's even more interest at the end of the month. Credit cards become so dangerous when you can't manage them because of how quickly it can go up. So Visa debits are awesome, guys. Visa debits are absolutely awesome. If you know that you're not able to manage it, I would tell anybody there's no hard and fast way, but you have to know what your strengths and weaknesses are. If you are not good at managing money, then the Visa debit might be the best way for you to go. You spend what you have there. If you know, we know other people use credit card for other reasons. They want to accumulate those points. Like we know some banks, they give you travel points, cash back, different areas. So if you choose to use a credit card, this is what you do. If you know you're going to pay your bills on your credit card, you pay those bills, you swipe your credit card if it's $600, and the $600 that you had to pay the bills, you then go and pay. So everything gets done. You get your reward points, and your bills are paid as well.
Absolutely. I love that, but I think some people just have this fantasy when it comes to credit card, not reality. It's a fantasy. I have this credit card, it's $10,000 credit limit, or but saying all of that though, this thought came to my spirit. What about all those cards you're getting from these different stores now? Like for here in Barbados, we have something called Cape Shepherd card. To me, all these things are setting us up to spend.
That's it.
Yeah, and they're not looking at, people are not looking at that. I know people who say to me, oh, I'll just put it on my card. Sweetheart, you have to pay for that though.
Exactly, yes you do. I remember having a conversation, I'm like, when these cards came out, it just put people into a different mindset. Before you were going to the grocery store and paying for your groceries, now that there is a grocery card, we decide we're just going to put it on it. That's what I mean, the mindset about money. There is a disconnect about swiping and when money physically comes from your hand and gives to somebody else. But that has created, and now what has happened, before K Shepherd cards used to be only used at K Shepherd. Now you can use them at so many other places. You can get gas with them, you can get food with them. So even though in our minds it could only be used at that store, that's just another credit card as well.
True. It is true. One of the things that came to mind, even as you were saying that, is I think too that for some people, when they have the credit cards and the debit cards and all these things, they look at it like, oh well, I could get this thing, no, it's paid later, but you still have to pay it back. So I like that you started by saying the mindset about money and finances. One question that came to my heart though is, what do you think, or what do you think that people think of when they say, well, I'm looking at my finances and it's pretty much zero, but they're asking God, Lord, I need to increase in my finances. Do you think really, because we understand a little bit more about the principles of how God operates when it comes to finances, do you think God is going to trust us with more if we can't manage the little that we have?
No, the word tells us pretty clearly, he who is faithful with little will be faithful in much.
Thank you very much.
And oftentimes people don't understand that when we're not faithful with little, God cannot entrust you with any more. Even in that faithfulness, he says, there's a 10% that I give, that you have, that belongs to me. We don't understand that when we don't give that 10%, we actually curse the 90%.
Jesus.
And we
My
can't
God, every time I hear you say that, it always go like, people need to get that. We need to make that as a hashtag somewhere.
Definitely.
I'm serious, because that is, people don't get that. A lot of people who are not tithing and so on, they don't get that aspect of it, but that's the word.
That's it. That's it. You actually curse what is left when you don't give to God first. And many times you're trying to figure out, why am I struggling? Why am I struggling? Why am I struggling? The first thing I would ask anybody, even to look at their budget, especially if you're dealing with kingdom budgeting, am I honoring God?
That's right.
Am I honoring God? Not last, but am I honoring God first?
Yes.
And many times, if people, when they go to get a loan and they realize, okay, if God gets his money first, do I still have the money to get this loan? Or is the money that is supposed to be God's now is going to this loan?
Right.
And then you're asking God to help me. You want a miracle to get out of debt. It's not going to happen. You dishonored him and now you want God to honor you.
Yes.
You violated biblical principle. We can't do that.
That's right. That's so powerful. That's really deep. And I think that's one of the things that we as Christians, as kingdom people, we don't grasp, and I think it's something that needs to be taught.
That's it.
I think that people generally don't, like, they genuinely genuinely don't know. But I also think this is where you come in though. This is where you can have seminars with these things. A lot of people actually, it's why we have this on the show. This is just a start, but I think this is something that you can do. You can put it out there because people sincerely, some people, I'm not saying everybody, we know they have people who still need, their hearts still need to come into alignment with their tithing. We know that. People's hearts still need to come into alignment with their tithing. People operate in fear when it comes to money. That's one of the things I've noticed. People operate in fear. I remember not having a job.
Yes. And
I would still get it. We may not have been tithe because tithe is obviously have to have a beginning wage or a salary or something. But I would get up and put my offering in there and I would always say, Lord, as soon as you bless me. This is when I first came into to being a Christian. Yes. And just imagine just coming in and I know that you have to give back.
That's it.
I know you have to give back. It's always been embedded in me, you have to give back. But people don't get that. So even so, there are people who are not budgeting properly, but if you're not giving back as you should either, that's a serious violation.
That is. There's a lady that I listen to and I follow, her name is Patrice Washington, and she said something very profound. She said, give God something to bless.
Jesus.
If you don't give him your 10%, you're asking him to bless something.
Whoa.
It's awesome. She's a fantastic lady that I follow too, all about wealth. But she was right.
Jesus.
You have to give God something to bless.
Absolutely.
We expect a blessing, but we don't expect that there is a seed that must go out before that blessing comes.
You heard that, guys. You heard that you must put out what?
A seed.
A seed first. You got to put out something. You asking God, Lord bless me, Lord give me this divine idea, but there's nothing for Him to work with. I just give you a quick scenario with that. Years ago, I know someone they were giving their tithes and they were doing all of that. They were following the right principle. They just didn't know how to work it. So here's a tip for you. They didn't know how to work it, but me, I had the little revelation, the little wisdom. So I share this. I'm sharing it here now with you. And they lost their job, really good paying job and everything. And I said, no, but you're a tither.
Yes.
You can take that word back to God. Lord God, I'm a tither.
That's it.
You give Him something to work with. He is going to work with that. But sometimes we go to Him, ask Him to bless us financially, and we didn't give Him anything. So we don't know how to manage and budget our finances, and we're not tithing and we're not giving.
That's it. It creates a major issue for us. God is of honor.
Yes.
And if we call ourselves sons and daughters of God, then He expects His children to be of honor.
Absolutely.
Too. And that's very, very, very vital, especially when it comes to money. God does not expect that the kingdom is not blessed.
Yes, absolutely.
And oftentimes I've heard a comment before about other religions, like, I'm going to join this other religion because they seem to be prospering.
Yeah.
And we need to understand that when we are not good stewards, it makes others on the outside look at us and say, are you really serving? Who is your God? Why should I even partake or want to join into something if you are not prospering?
Absolutely.
If people are going to come into the kingdom, they have to look at your life and see, okay, I knew who she was.
Yes.
He was. I know the situation that they were in. But now there's something different about them. I wonder what happened here. We have to be an example.
Absolutely.
A total example of who God is.
Yeah.
We become the example in the earth.
Yes.
So if we don't walk in the ways that God wants us to walk, especially not only in our spiritual walk, but in our finances as well, we don't even understand how much the Bible speaks about money, especially debt.
Yeah.
The Bible speaks clearly about it, that the borrower is a slave to the lender.
Absolutely.
That's what that feels like. Like you are a
Like
slave. It says no man builds a house without first counting the cost.
Yes.
We do not count the cost sometimes and the things that we want. And I often say, especially for those people who are going into mortgages, your only consideration for a mortgage should not be whether or not when you put your payslip on the table, if you can afford it.
That's it.
Here's what you need to understand. It's something very simple. It's on Excel. Pull it up. You can use it. It's called a loan amortization schedule. If you go for a loan and they tell you, okay, you need $20,000, this is the monthly payback, it's going to be 5% interest. Go on Excel, put that in the loan amortization schedule, and it will give you an entire calculation over the years of the loan, how much interest you're going to pay back. If people would do that before going into a loan, there are many decisions about loans that they would not go into, especially a mortgage. A mortgage sometimes can be a 30-year bondage. That's what it feels like.
I'm telling you. We see all of that, and that is really good and powerful tips for people. But what about those families, say maybe you have a single mother with 5 kids, and she's thinking, but this is for people who are actually making a lot of money. I have my 5 kids, and how am I going to manage that? How am I going to manage my $260 a week? How am I going to budget this $260 a week with my 5 kids? What can we say to those persons who are probably thinking to themselves, yeah, but I have these kids, even if it's 3 kids, how am I managing that? Life is so expensive now. The economy has changed. Everything is expensive. Money. How do I manage my, because there's a person making a wage now. How do I manage my $260 a week?
I know sometimes it can become very overwhelming, especially as a single person is one thing, but when you have to consider a family, it looks totally different.
Yes.
One of the major expenses that they will have is food, especially if you have boys. They will eat a lot more than the girls. But moms get very creative. And they will come and say, Mommy, I eat this before, we gonna eat this here again. Get creative with the food that you're using. Get creative so that they have a way to understand. We can do this. The next thing too, that many times parents hide those aspects of their finances from their kids. And then when they go to school and they realize that our friends have this, Mommy, wait, the pressure then comes back home. Parents need to have a conversation with children that they understand about money. That's a major thing that we don't take into consideration. So they just see that we can't have this and we can't have this, and why not? But if you have that conversation with them, that they become part of that process. And even at that stage, once the parent understands, you then begin to teach them, because kids grow up.
Yes, they do.
And many times the problems that we face later on in life is because we did not have an understanding of it from a younger age.
Yes.
It's not impossible. What I will also say to those parents that $260 a month, many times God has given you an awesome gift. $260 a week. Sometimes you have gifts that are unused. So many times you only look at what we're getting from a job. But we often have gifts that some of you can sew really well. Some of you cook really well. Some of you, there's so many different things, and you don't see that is a tool.
Hair braiding, this is like a thing.
Exactly. All of those things are things that you can do. And because we don't look at it as, this is something that comes normal to me. Oftentimes your gifts are those things that do come normal to you. Absolutely. You just have not begun to monetize it. That's right. That's what can do to help as well.
I really love that. There's this guy on YouTube, I wish I could remember his name now, but I would try to find it and put it in the description below. And he said something, was it him? No, it was another guy. But anyway, he said this. He said, you know, one of the things that keep people in this whole poverty mindset and this whole poverty situation is that instead of looking and saying how they can do something, somebody might say, can you afford to travel? They say, no, I can't afford. Instead of saying, I cannot afford, say, how can I make this money? How can I make this possible? You don't. So then you go within yourself. You go with a lot of us just think, I don't have it, I can't. I don't have it, I can't. So children grow up here and you say, no, I don't have it, I can't. So you're not even teaching them to go within and say, how can I get it?
Yes, I'm not sure if we're speaking about the same person, but it's Robert Kiyosaki that wrote Rich Dad Poor Dad.
That's it.
And he
I wasn't going to tie my tongue with his name. I could not remember Robert.
He wrote his book Rich Dad Poor Dad, and actually that's one of the books that really was very, very impactful for me. His dad was a teacher and his best friend dad was a businessman, and he said he looked at both of them and realized that there was one of the lives that he wanted to live and one that he did not, and that conversation came up. His rich dad told him, anytime you begin to say, I cannot afford it, it shuts down your mind to being creative, to how you can afford it. Right. So that was his mindset.
No, I absolutely love it. Now, when I listened to that, I was blown away. I was like, wow. This is something that we need to teach our children. Yes. We need to have these conversations in schools, so I believe. That's true. We need to have these conversations in schools. So maybe again, I mean, your call to the young women, maybe you should be going to the schools and teaching them about budgeting and money. And so one of the things I used to do with my niece is that whenever I take her to the store, I would always give her money. And I know children like to pick up snacks. I would say, okay, today you have $5 as a budget. You spend it and spend it well. And she would look at the prices, and then she's, you start with small things, but you start to train their thoughts about budgeting. Sometimes I would give her money. I bought her like a piggy bank. Have them learn to save. If they want something, it's okay, no, go to your piggy bank and, save some, do that. I had this same when we were growing up. My mother, there were 7 of us, so that's the reason why I used 5 kids and all of that. There were 7 of us, single mother. And not that she was making a lot, absolutely not. And I can tell you this, obviously her priorities used to be, as you said earlier, food, shelter, something, the clothes never used to be the priority because there's 7 of us. I can wear my older sister's outfit when they no longer fit her, she's grown out of them. Hand-me-downs, that's right. So, I mean, hand-me-downs could be really cute. I don't know about you guys, but hand-me-downs could be really cute. You could be eyeing on your sister's outfit for a long time, but you can't wait for her to hand it down.
Unfortunately, I have 2 brothers, so
yeah, but not you there. But not you there with me. So here's the thing. My mother, not so that she had a whole stash of it, but I learned something from her. I think maybe it's my mother that I got this from, that I've always been a person who believed in a rainy day. Yes. My mother with 7 kids, single mother, okay? Domestic servant, okay? She would actually have a little 20 stash somewhere. All right? For rainy day. It's not to say that it is a huge saving, but spending all the monies in food and everything, then if one of your kids gets sick, you can't get to Queen Elizabeth Hospital here in Barbados, so that's why I'm saying Queen Elizabeth. You have to go private. That's it. You have no money, so you the one would have, your child will suffer because you did not put down 20. Or our child will say to me, well, my mom can't afford it, but your mom is going partying every weekend. It's about priorities.
That's it.
Priorities. So I want to put the parents with the limited amount, because some people actually do not have. Yes, so we just had a little bit of a glitch there. But I was saying that there are parents who would rather take their monies and do other things for themselves.
That's it.
And sometimes the kids suffer, the family suffers, and there are no savings for nothing else, because they want what they see the Joneses having and all of that. They want to be out doing all the stuff. That's just one example, but I just believe that you need to have a priority where your finances are concerned. I didn't grow up with a lot, but for some reason, like I said, I always had this thing. I believe I got it from my mom. You always should have some money right behind in that purse, even if you don't have a bank account. You're a young person watching, so you don't have a bank account. Have some money put somewhere. People always talk about credit cards. I'm glad you mentioned that, because I like credit cards too. I have debit card. My favorite obviously is Visa debit, because when it's out, it's out.
That's it. That's it.
You know what I mean? And I mean, I've had my experience with credit card before, and not gonna lie, so I know very well those.
We are.
I'm telling you. So my thing is that you got to make sure that you view all of these things. When you get the monies, you put the money down, and don't be afraid to get a notepad and write down the different things that you need per month or per week. And as you do that, you're able to look at your monies and see how much, and then say, okay, every month I'm going to put down, if depending on your income, I'm going to put down $50. Put it somewhere that you know, like you may have an account that I could not reach. So I would always put money there, because I don't like standing in line. So whatever money's on that account, I can't get to it. You know what I mean? So have somewhere, do something. Don't put it in your home where you know you could easily go and find it as soon as. You got to be able to find a way to save, because it's very, very important. I'm actually sick and tired of hearing people saying, I don't have because of all of these things. I believe personally that, and I'm not talking to those out there who, you know, are not working and all that. If you don't have an income, there's nothing to save. I get that. But I'm speaking to those out there who are every month or every week they're in lack. Look at your habits. Look at your spending habits. What are you spending on?
That's it.
Is it important to have the latest pair of sneakers? Is it important to have the latest dress? Wear your clothes as often as possible and keep them clean. That's the most important thing.
Yes.
You know, and then see how you can go within. I love when you share that point. See how you can go within at what God has given to you, and say, okay, maybe I can braid here, maybe I can sew, like you said, maybe I can cook. See how can I use what God has given to me. As my husband would say, the low-hanging fruit.
Yes,
that's low-hanging fruit is what keeps us going, huh? See what is the low-hanging fruit that's happening. This is a quick way to make some money, and you do it because you do not want to compromise. That's one of the things you don't want to do. I mean, last I'm going to be able to borrow every. And here's it, a lot of times, excuse me, we go there, we borrow from people who are not even in the kingdom. So then outsiders have to be looking at us and be like, ain't you going to church? Ain't God supposed to be blessing you?
That's it. That's it. A poor reflection on who God is. I mean, many of us find ourselves in different situations.
Yes.
And while we've been talking, there are also the persons that I've lost my job and I still have all of these expenses. I feel lost. You are not forgotten.
That's right.
And it's not the end.
That's right.
Many times if you can go and let them know, your lending institutions, this is my situation. They may allow you to refinance what you have, or they may not.
Yeah.
But it's a conversation that you have to have, and not to feel as if it's the end of the world. Yeah. It's a time that you will recover. Yeah. There's always going to be seasons.
Yes.
Seasons will change, and it's not the end. It is not the end.
Absolutely.
Just to encourage the person that I've lost my job, I don't know what I'm going to do next. But for the beginners as well, for those people who are now starting out, the younger ones, I'm getting my first job. You want to make sure that you have a plan even at that first job.
Yeah.
Because when you start to develop those good habits from early, it becomes so much easier later on in life. You want to develop good habits early, so that it continues. So you might have a job and it's only you, but you have that concept of, I need to save, I need to put aside for investing, there's this amount of money, so that when you come into a family, it's not then hard to transition.
Absolutely.
Many people, it becomes hard for transition. Some of you, for your kids, you're going to be going to college. I don't believe in having children start from the bottom all the time like a grave digger. There has to be, leave something for them to start on.
Absolutely.
There has to be something for them to start on.
Sometimes I wonder if some parents actually think about the advanced education, like college and so forth. I think some parents only think about primary school and secondary.
That's it.
And that's one of the problems. And don't get us wrong, we're not saying that everybody going to go to college, but we're saying for those who desire to go, the opportunity should be there for them.
And some of you have children that you know very well that their gifting, what we offer in this country, would not be able to surface it. So you realize from very early what your children's giftings are. You point them in that direction. So you know, okay, my child is more inclined to do computer engineering, and at a high level, like gaming. There's some people who like gaming. There's nothing here that you're going to learn in Barbados. That degree is going to cost them some money.
Oh yes.
There are some insurance companies that have funds like that.
Yes.
That you begin to put down money for your child for those stages. Then you have the parents, if you have a twin or if you have a child that is 5 years apart, you know that when one is ending or if they're even closer, you may have a situation where in 1/3 year at university, one is about to start. Your last child suffers.
Jesus.
Both of your children are gifted. Somebody suffers. So making sure that you understand, even when you're planning, what is it that I want my family to have? What is it that I'm going to put in place that neither of my kids suffer? That's important. We have to have a plan for our future. Am I going to buy that new car now and my child is about to go, they're in third form now, but in a few years they're going to college. It's going to be a clash with that payment. So you have to be thinking forward. My next, especially with major purchases. Major purchases are not something that you can make light decisions about.
No.
Whether it be a mortgage, whether it be a vehicle, going into business, anytime you're having a major purchase, you have to look at every single thing else that's going to surround that purchase as well.
I really like that you share that, because so many people look at finances as like, oh, it's just money. No, it's not just money. If we are to be good stewards, we are to manage it well. And if we want God to add to us, we have to say, okay, this is what you give to me. How am I going to show you that I can actually increase it? How can I multiply it? You know, so we have to look at finances different. I really hope that today was a blessing to you. It was indeed a blessing for me. And thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you for having me.
You are most welcome. I think that even as you were even sharing that, I don't know, for me, one reason why I love this topic is because I really want to see you guys really start looking at your finances differently. I really want you to start looking at your finances as how God wants us to look at our finances, not from how you grew up, not from how you probably learned from seeing your mom just spend. You gotta know, start, because remember, if you are in Christ, you have to have a new mindset. I love that you share your mindset. I love that you give us, say you must have a plan. I love that you share that you must write it down, write down what the spendings are, so that you know. So I'm just summing up, okay? And I also love that you're saying, in terms of the credit cards, come on now, if you don't need the credit card, get rid of the credit card, you know. Try to work with what you have and have a plan. That's the important thing, you know. If you don't know, go before the Lord and say, Lord, I literally am at loss. I need you to help me, and believe me, He will give you the wisdom. Okay, so God bless you guys. Thank you for sharing. So you're most welcome. So that's it for today, guys, on the Nina Ear Show. I'm really thankful for today's topic. I'm really prayerful that it will help you guys. If there's any other topic that you want to hear on the Nina Ear Show, please do not forget to write to the ninaearshow@gmail.com. Before you go, I want to share with you that excellence is a choice, and in all you do, aim for. Guys, this is how we know the ones who watch the Nina Ear Show.
You did not just do that.
This is how I test all who watch the Nina Ear Show to the end. Excellent. If you watch it, you will not always end with one thing over and over. Excellence is a choice, and all you do, aim for, drum roll, excellence. This is how I get everybody on the show. I love it. I love it.
Emails, but it was like, that's what she need.
Yes, that's what's put out. And my emails is, Anyway, thank you so much. Nevertheless, you have to have some fun, some laughter.